Good evening everyone and welcome to my channel. I decided to do a live video tonight so that we can chat in the comments live. This video was pre-recorded but it's going live now. So a very warm welcome to everyone in the live chat. I'll also be in the chat, so hopefully we'll get to comment on the video as it plays. I prepared two different topics for this video, but before we start, let me just show you my scent of the night. I haven't talked about this one in a very long time. It's Isatis de Givenchy, 1984, shoulder pads, tuberose, powerhouse. You know, it's a big fragrance. I only did 3 sprays. This is one of those 80s heavy hitters. I absolutely love it. Not for everyone. The first fragrance that I've been wearing a lot lately is SpellBound by Estée Lauder. I've really fallen in love with this scent once again, and I've owned it for a good year, I would say. SpellBound is a real showstopper of a fragrance, even in the newest formula, in my opinion. It's excessively sweet, excessively spicy, with carnation being the main note, but I'm sure I can also pick up on the pepperiness in the opening and some other notes. But the heart is white floral, and it leans a bit indolic, animalic, I would say. The tuberose is very waxy, and it's reminiscent of the tuberose found in other grand 80s powerhouses like Poison, but I would say SpellBound is stronger, even in its vintage and newest formula. The Estée Lauder website lists the notes for the 2014 version as rose, lily of the valley, orange blossom, and surprisingly no tuberose, followed by carnation, cardamom, sandalwood, vanilla, and amber in the base. And I don't think this note breakdown is complete. There should be many different notes, but SpellBound as a scent is more about the feeling it evokes rather than about the individual notes. So I won't really talk about the notes. I'll tell you the feeling this fragrance gives me. This scent is a huge powder bomb. It's distinctly powdery, which is very much part of Sophia Grojsman, the perfumer, her signature style. And I think we should try to understand fragrances like SpellBound as products of their time, influenced by the 80s and early 90s perfumery, as well as the perfumer's own sentiments towards perfume history and what the perfumer deems to be a great, influential and groundbreaking scent. If I were to create a fragrance, I would certainly turn to the past and look at my favorite scents that changed perfume history. Sophia Grojsman did the same, knowingly or unknowingly, and her source of inspiration was L'Heure Bleue from Guerlain. And L'Heure Bleue was one of the most important classics in 20th century perfumery. It came out in 1912. In 2012, the magazine Perfumer and Flavorist ran an article to celebrate the 100th anniversary of L'Heure Bleue. And according to the author, Jacques Guerlain was, quote, inspired to create L'Heure Bleue in 1912 during a walk along the Seine when he noticed the vivid blue color of the sky as dusk fell over the city. The author of the article, Victoria Frolova, who owns the famous perfume blog Bois de Jasmin, she argues that Sophia Grojsman, considers it to be a fragrance with beautiful structure and development. And then she goes on to say that Vanderbilt, Sophia's 1981 creation, is a successful American classic based on the same intriguing contrast between fresh citrus and orange blossom top notes and the methyl ionone, heliotropin and vanillin dominated dry down. So Vanderbilt takes inspiration from none other than L'Heure Bleue, because L'Heure Bleue is said to be one of Sophia's favorite fragrances, and her style, the way she creates fragrances, is partly based on L'Heure Bleue. L'Heure Bleue is a spicy, powdery floral, and so are so many of Sophia's creations. She's also known for fruity florals, but the spicy element in SpellBound definitely echoes L'Heure Bleue. So does the structure of the fragrance. SpellBound opens almost cloyingly fruity, but also very spicy. The carnation is truly the main note in L'Heure Bleue. Victoria compares L'Heure Bleue to Vanderbilt, but Vanderbilt also happens to be very similar to SpellBound, and we can see that Sophia was working with a similar formula, tweaking it ever so slightly. In SpellBound, she added peach, apricots, possibly other fruits, which was probably inspired by the success of Trésor. So if we look at the two fragrances, we can see how Sophia's style evolved. SpellBound feels like a more modern reworking of Vanderbilt, with the addition of fruitiness from Trésor, but Vanderbilt feels like a nod to L'Heure Bleue. And I find it really fascinating how perfume trends never really die. They build on one another. Every new fragrance created is inspired by some other fragrance from the past, and I don't believe it's possible to create something entirely new and authentic. Chances are a similar smell has already been created, and the real challenge for the perfumer is to create something new that will one day become a classic. And I'm sure that Sophia had no clue that Trésor and Vanderbilt would become timeless classics one day. SpellBound seems to be rather obscure nowadays. Hardly anyone is talking about it, but it's still in production, so people seem to love it. People seem to buy it. And if you know other Sophia Grojsman fragrances, you'll definitely recognize the classic powdery floral DNA she's so famous for. I can certainly smell it in SpellBound, although it's covered with layers of carnation and tuberose. But the soft, powdery, comforting, so-called hug me accord comes through in the dry down. On my recent video, someone wrote that saying that a fragrance smells like a hug is ridiculous. Well, it doesn't smell like a hug, we're talking about a feeling, and describing fragrances, has no rules. You can use whatever language you want to, How do you describe a feeling? That's very subjective. But in technical terms, we can say that the vanilla and the heliotrope are the two notes that make the scent powdery, soft, and comforting. But in SpellBound, let's not forget about the animalic notes in the base, mainly the civet, which is also something that I can smell in this fragrance, and it makes it ever so slightly oily and waxy, and I really love an animalic note. Not everyone does, but I do, and I definitely love when it's paired with sweet florals, orientals, vanilla. I don't think I would like an animalic chypre. I did try some, not my favorite. But when a sweet fragrance is paired with an animalic note, oh my goodness, that's just something that I adore. Cocoa from Chanel. Poison has a bit of an animalic note in the base, I believe. And so many other vintage fragrances, but I digress. I think it's really hard to describe a scent by looking at the note breakdown, because scents are feelings. And feelings are something that's even harder to describe. But that makes this scent special for me, because it defies description. And that brings me to my next point. Feelings are subjective, and every wearer adds something to the collective history of a fragrance. A fragrance is nothing without the wearers, and for me, SpellBound and Trésor bring back memories of a rather bittersweet time in my life. I used to wear Trésor 3 summers ago, and it will always remind me of that summer. And I discovered SpellBound when I still lived in the UK, in Scotland specifically. And I remember buying a bottle and not really liking it at first, but it grew on me, it fascinated me. I had no clue who was Sophia Grojsman. I had no clue she created SpellBound. I just knew what it smelled like, and I was drawn to it because of the bottle and the name. The name just seemed as magical as the liquid inside. And I'm smelling it now as I'm filming this, and I just have to say, this fragrance truly has a je ne sais quoi. Very hard to describe. It defies description. It's a magical scent. It's a very divisive, polarizing scent. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not for everyone. So don't blind buy it. Just give it a try. Leave it on your skin. Wait for the dry down. And then see for yourself if you can smell the magic. If not, that's perfectly fine, you know. Some people swear fragrances like Angel, Opium are, you know, take them to a different universe. And some people just recoil in horror. So each to their own. The next topic that I wanted to cover in this video is the alleged Estée Lauder Rebrand. According to CNBC News, Estée Lauder, the once premium company, is undergoing a massive makeover. They're restructuring the company due to slowing sales in China and ongoing market share losses. The stock tumbled nearly 50% in 2024. They have appointed a new CEO who has expanded the restructuring plan. In the US, Estée Lauder is still the second largest beauty brand, with L'Oréal as their rival. The video speaks of a comeback, but I didn't really understand what constitutes a comeback according to them. Where did they go? They're in every department store. Estée Lauder is everywhere. From what I understand, Estée Lauder really put all their bets on China, which isn't surprising because other luxury brands also depend on the Asian market. Europe and America are not spending as much on luxury products and premium skincare as they used to. However, Asia has been spending less too, so that's where the problem stems from. And make of that what you will. Let's consider what this could mean for us. So whether this is good or bad news, I genuinely don't know. I hope they'll revive their classic line of fragrances, or at least not discontinue any more fragrances. But I also know that they're a large conglomerate. They have many other brands under their umbrella, and I doubt their classic fragrances are a big moneymaker for them. I did take one thing from this video, though. All of these companies are obsessed with growth and profits, and they're, reducing expenses, laying people off, considering using AI in marketing, which again isn't really a good thing if you ask me. I'm not a fan of AI. I think it can be useful, but it also scares me, to be honest. But, let's talk about the fragrances. So about the Estée Lauder Classic line, I've already reported on the discontinuation of quite a few scents from the House of Lauder line. And as of April 2025, when I'm filming this video, the following scents are still available. I did do some research. Alliage, Azuré, Cinnabar, and Estée are available from the House of Lauder line, as well as some other classics like Knowing, Pleasures, White Linen, You've Chew. These are not going anywhere. They won't discontinue them. I couldn't find SpellBound on the German website, so I guess they discontinued it in Germany, but it's still available in the UK. Intuition and Beyond Paradise are long gone, and so is Tuscany, but I believe Tuscany is still available in America, just not in Europe. We still have some amazing scents from the House of Lauder collection to choose from, And I think I'll definitely pick up a backup bottle of SpellBound before it gets discontinued. Hopefully it never does, but you never know. This can happen overnight, so stock up before it's too late. Okay, so let's review a completely random sample. I chose this one from the house of Micallef from this discovery set. It's called Royal Muska or Royal Muska. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce this. And I sprayed it on my skin, and I have to say, I really like it. This is a sweet, inoffensive white musk fragrance. Very sweet, very inoffensive, not too strong. Almost like a skin scent, I would say. But keep in mind that I'm only trying it from a sample. I didn't do a full wear, so it might be a great performer, but on my skin right now, it's a scent that's very close to the skin, and it's a fruity musk. It's a sweet, fruity musk. Very pleasant, inoffensive. Would I buy it for myself? No, I don't think so, because I've got other fragrances like this. But if you don't have a musk fragrance and if you want to spend a bit more money, well, go for this one, why not? So Micallef Royal Muska Eau de Parfum. And finally, I want to show you a declutter. Yes, I know, shocking. I never do declutter videos because people don't like them, and I'm not someone who declutters a ton. You know, when I buy something, I buy it with the intention to keep it. I don't buy things just to declutter them and then buy new things a week later, like some YouTubers like to do, not mentioning any names. But this fragrance, unfortunately, didn't work for me. It was extremely affordable. I only paid 19 euros. And you know what they say, you get what you pay for. And this one just smells cheap to me. I'm so sorry. I know that lots of people like it. It's a fruity vanilla scent. It has this early 2000s vibe. Yes, it does smell like other fragrances from the era. It was created by Dominique Ropion, but sadly on my skin, this just leans super synthetic. It's just not unique. And unfortunately, it is very strong. So I didn't scrub it off. I didn't hate it. It's just not something I would wear for the second time. So it has to go. It just has to go. And if I can't sell it, I'll just gift it to someone, because, this is a nice fragrance, but not for someone who has, I don't know, maybe I'm just being picky. But fruity fragrances sometimes smell synthetic to me. Sometimes I really dislike raspberry, but I do like peach, so that doesn't really make sense. There's no raspberry in this fragrance. There's blackcurrant orange, mandarin orange, but to me this just smells too synthetic for my nose, and I'm not a fan, so this one is going. So I think that's all for tonight. Let's call it a night. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this live. I've never done anything like this before, so apologies if it's not something you're interested in. So we'll see how it goes, If people like it, if I get positive comments, I might do another one. If not, we'll just move on as if nothing happened. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a good night.